All right, so your blood pressure today is running about 141/88. So that is going to be considered hypertensive, actually. So before you were in the pre-hypertensive stage, so hypertension is considered 140/90 or greater. So ideally we want to be in the normal range, which is less than 120 over less than 80. And so if you're pre-hypertensive, if you're on the path towards hypertension, that's going to be less than 140 over less than 190.
Okay.
That's where you were running last week. I think it was 139/88 is what I have written down here. So your systolic pressure, your top number, is a little higher this week. So let's go ahead and talk about some risk factors for hypertension. We kind of brought these up in the pre-test last week, but I want to go into more detail and explain them to you this week and what we can do to change them. So there are a couple risk factors that you can change. We call those modifiable, and then we have some that are non-modifiable. So with our Patriot program, we want to focus on the ones that we can change and hopefully decrease those risks. So if I remember correctly, you mentioned that you did not smoke. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, good. So smoking is a big risk factor for hypertension, so that's great that you're not smoking. Also, diet and exercise, that kind of thing. So with diet, we really want to limit our sodium intake, so our salt. So if we're eating out a lot, if we're eating a lot of fast food, French fries, that kind of thing, that can increase our risk as well.
Okay.
And so with exercise, we really want to be exercising at least 3 to 5 times a week, and not really living a sedentary lifestyle. So are you exercising regularly? Is that something you like to do?
Maybe like once a week, but not really.
No? Okay. So we will be discussing that later on in the program. We're going to actually set you up with an exercise prescription based on what you're capable of. And I'll actually send you home with a sheet that's going to have everything itemized for you, so you'll be able to practice that at home.
Okay.
All right. So also with our diet and that kind of thing, obesity is a problem, which that's not really a problem for you, but also living with diabetes is a problem. That can also increase our risk as well. So some things that we can't change, that's going to be our family history and our genetics. There's actually a gene that can be passed down that can make you retain salt more. So when you retain salt, it brings more fluid into the vessels, and that's just not really great. So we can't really change that. It's nothing we can do about that. And same with race. African Americans have the highest risk of hypertension over Caucasians and Hispanics, specifically African American males. So that's going to put you at the highest risk.
Yeah.
Okay. And again, nothing we can really do about that. And then finally, living a chronically stressed life can have a negative impact on our vessels. Basically, we're just always stressed with work and financials, that kind of thing. Our vessels are going to tighten up and constrict, and it's going to create a higher pressure that the blood's going to have to flow against. So that can cause a problem as well. So basically, just looking at your demographic sheet and your pre-test, I did notice there were a couple of those risk factors that do apply to you. So I just wanted to touch on those, and then we'll go from there later on.
Okay.
Thanks.